welcome you this evening for Riverwalk Fort Lauderdale's honoring of Gale Butler. Gale is a community partner who has touched many of us on many levels and is one of the hardest working women that I know. Much of her work is recognizable in the downtown and all over the community. If you haven't noticed it, take a ride. You'll see some of her handiwork everywhere. Riverwalk's mission is to basically activate the downtown, to provide connectivity along the New River, is to build a vibrant community. And as Fort Lauderdale has grown up, we're seeing those things come to fruition, and we're very happy about it. And it's through your help that we've gotten there. Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the chair of Riverwalk this year. That would be Courtney Callahan-Crush. Courtney?
Good evening. As Gina indicated, we are delighted to be able to honor annually someone who Riverwalk Fort Lauderdale knows has had an impact in the growth and development of our community. We're especially delighted this year to be able to be honoring Gale Butler. There are people and that's just the thing. To everyone that we've shared this news with, first of all, everyone knows Gale. Everyone's been touched by Gale, has worked perhaps hammering on a project, infrastructure. She has touched so many in our community and really embodies what it means to be part of the fabric, which is an important part of our growth in the community. You'll see up on the screen has been scrolling some of the not-for-profits that Gale has touched. In addition to working in very prominent roles for corporations, she really has intermeshed her life into our city and grown with it over the last quarter of a century. So Gale, there are not very many people who have determination and intelligence and extraordinary grace above all, and we are delighted that you've allowed us to acknowledge what you've been doing for the city. With that, we would like to honor you, and we will be placing a Riverwalk brick along the walk, of course, in your name. Thank you, Gale.
Thank you all for being here. I'm very touched that so many people came, so thank you. And the fact that the food is good doesn't hurt me. I don't know how many of you know, I was born in Fort Lauderdale, and when I was thinking about this award, I kind of took a walk down memory lane, and I spent half of my school year each year in Fort Lauderdale when I was growing up, and the rest of the time in Mountain Lakes, New Jersey. So we'd come down after Christmas and we'd stay with my grandmother. And one of the things we would do was walk to the Pioneer House for dinner on Sunday, and now the Stranahan House. And we'd walk on down the river and we'd see all the houseboats, and WFTL was there, Joe Amaturo's radio station. It was in a houseboat. I don't know how many people remember that, but anyway. And then all the little Chinese lanterns strung along the New River. And that was it. It was maybe a block of where you could walk along the river. So, fade out, 1983, I come back to Fort Lauderdale with a new husband and 6-month-old baby and started work at Landmark Bank. And I met a woman by the name of Virginia Schumann Young. And she was then director of Landmark Bank. And turned out she knew my grandmother. So we became friends, and my mother and I used to take her out for breakfast and what have you, and she came back from a trip to San Antonio, and she said, you know, they have this thing called Riverwalk, and it's something that we should have here. And so she talked about it, and she talked about it. Well, she passed away, and we got her bench on Riverwalk, and we made sure that it said Virginia Schumann Young, mother of Riverwalk, so that nobody would forget that. But there are so many other people. I want to just, for those of you who may or may not remember, the very early people were Bill Farkas, Emmett McTeague, Laura Ward, Clay Shaw, Sandy Castile, Ed Stone and all his designers, and then city manager Dr. George Hanbury. And then there were so many others that came after that. Once it was built, it was Patsy Minuti was Patsy. She was the original executive director. Wonderful. She did a wonderful job. And then Renee Quinn was an interim executive director, and then Gina Ellis, and I think Cindy was in there somewhere, but, and is Lisa Scott Founds here? And if she's not, that's okay. She got wonderful. I want to acknowledge Lisa for putting the Winterfest Boat Parade back on the New River. So in memory of Virginia, and in honor of the 25th anniversary of Riverwalk, I have dipped into the Butler family fortune, and I'm donating $1,000 to Riverwalk as a thank you for honoring me. I want to particularly thank all the people who have supported me, especially Mike Jackson, who's been my boss for a long time before that, Wayne. And you can't do anything in the community without people behind you, like Mike, with the management believing in it. So thank you. Thank you, Mike, for supporting me.
Actually, also like to introduce our elected officials here with us this evening. We have City of Fort Lauderdale Mayor Jack Seiler, City Commissioner Robin Rogers, whose district this is in, and Broward County Commissioner Chip LaMarca. I'm going to turn this over to Mayor Seiler.
Well, this might be a little awkward. Do you have cash? All right, I need everybody to do a strip search for a proclamation. It was, I believe, up here earlier. But you know what? I don't even need the proclamation to tell you the great things about Gale. So let me just take a second to, first of all, Gale, in front of your boss, I'm going to tell you one thing. You should not do your job so well and have such a great time doing it, because for them, they think it's easy. They don't realize that, no, I'm serious. You go about your job with such grace and with such dignity and professionalism. And I think we all see it, and we see how well you balance so many things in your life, that it just looks easy. It looks like your job is just having a good time in the community, giving back, getting things done. And I think Mike's over there saying, you know, are we paying you for this? But in all seriousness, just what you do for us is so invaluable here in Fort Lauderdale. You've made it such a great place to live, to work, to play, to raise a family. And I think it's something was said earlier. We were talking out there as I was walking in, and we were talking about you, and I said, you know, the thing about Gale is she is so well liked. But more important than that, you're so well respected. And I think to have that combination of being universally well liked, but more universally well respected, speaks volumes about the way you live your life. So in honor of that, today, we have named this Gale Butler Day in the city of Fort Lauderdale. One of your friends out there has the actual proclamation, and I can promise you it's your day, it's officially. In fact, we don't find it the next hour, we'll name tomorrow for you too. But in all seriousness, thank you for what you do for Fort Lauderdale. Thank you for what you've done for Riverwalk. You are fantastic. Thank you.